If like this popped onto my YouTube, I would just like snap, click off.
By the end of this episode, we will also have clicked away from 6 of these So You Think You Can Tout contestants. That's right, we are about to cut the field from 16 all the way down to 10. And to arrive there, we created Duo Week. We strategically paired all of the remaining contestants and gave them a relatively straightforward challenge. Make us a 4-minute video with the theme Fantasy Football Stacks. Quarterback plus pass catcher. That's it, no other direction. What we didn't tell them at the time was who would be judging them. Our guest judges for Duo Week are the most iconic duo in fantasy sports, Adam Levitan and Evan Silva from Establish the Run.
Fuck. The first thing I thought of was, didn't I send a job application to ETR like 2-3 months ago? Never heard back.
I think I might be underqualified for this competition.
I'll be your host, Peter Overzet.
So you think you can howl? You fucking ain't right, we fucking think we can.
Our contestants would not only have to win over our production team, they'd also have to win over 2 fantasy football legends who have been doing this for how long? They'll tell you.
Wow. I mean, a long time ago, me and Adam Levitan worked together at Roto World. That feels like ages ago. We've come a long way since then. You know, we were sort of both kind of trying to find our way in fantasy football at the time. But I mean, we helped build like the greatest fantasy football website that will ever exist. Me and Adam and Chris Wessling worked very closely together for several years, like intensely at rotoworld.com.
We didn't do that many shows then. Like this was in 2006, 2007.
We didn't do any shows.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, we didn't do any shows. Like podcasts like wasn't a thing. Like doing shows on YouTube wasn't a thing. We literally blurbed. Like that's what we did. We talked about players and wrote blurbs
well, we were
them.
told
So, yeah.
that you couldn't you couldn't monetize podcasts, remember?
Yeah. A lot of people told us that for sure. Yeah. But yeah, that was like how we got to know each other, was just literally like finding news. It was really hard to find news back then. I mean, finding news and then giving our take on it. And that was literally it for like 5 years.
What makes Evan and Adam such a great podcast duo these days, though, is that they're a bit of an odd couple.
I always think about like Levitan and Silva. I don't know that I would ever think that they would be best friends, but there's a part of them that just works on that show. Like whatever that dynamic is, Adam knows when to let Evan do his thing and vice versa. And so it just kind of works.
They really couldn't be more different in how they approach both fantasy football and content.
So my take on this I actually think is important maybe for this show. I play fantasy football to make money. I felt like Evan played fantasy football because he actually loves football. Like, and there's like a difference there, but I think that it works. Like I'm not the biggest football fan in the history of the world. You know, if it wasn't for this, I don't think I would sit down and watch a ton of football. But to me, it is like the most liquid market for monetizing your knowledge in the fantasy realm. And so I thought that was like one of the reasons that Evan and I work is I'm coming at it from how can I make money? Evan's coming at of like the number one ball knower that I've ever met, you know? And that's why I think it partially works.
I would say that that is definitely probably a big part of it. Why we've done so well together. Definitely have complementary skill sets where it overlaps a little bit, but not so much that we're not bringing in different things. I mean, Adam can do a lot of things really, really well. He has an extremely diverse skill set. I think maybe my skill set is not as diverse, but we're very complementary to each other.
Yeah, and I would say like in the modern era of fantasy, like it's gotten so data driven and so data sci and modeled out that I actually think it's starting to lean, like it's important to have someone on the show that is an actual ball knower. And so you can't have just like 2 data guys on the show or 2 like pro DFS players on the show. I think you need a ball knower in this day and age.
Like Mayo for the audition episode, Evan and Adam would be the perfect guest judges for this challenge, and they were coming in mostly blind.
Yeah, I saw the one where, I don't know, someone did the Evan Silva back.
I basically came to life with the ability to speak after taking nip at the best beat reporter in the game, Nick Underhill.
And then Mayo was like, dude, I'm sure that this is funny, but like, no. I love that. Like, just immediately he came out and shot it down.
Levitan thought I had an ulterior motive for this competition.
I think it's just a sneaky way for you to hire. Like when we hire, it takes us months and months to review resumes and look at everything in the interview. This is like you're turning hiring into a bit and content to make money. So I wish we would have thought about this earlier.
Well, man, I am losing money hand over fist on this show right now with my editing costs. So if this show could start making money, that would be great. But the stage was set. Adam, the man who's only here to win, and Evan, the classic ball knower. And before we got started, they asked for more context on how they should grade these submissions. The only prompt that we gave these guys, they got paired up into duos, the final 16, and we told them, give us a 4-minute video. Your theme is fantasy football stacks, quarterback and pass catcher. We gave them no other direction. We didn't say you had to do this, you had to have stats, you had to whatever. All we said is you're going to be judged on the creativity of the submission. You know, there's lots of boring fantasy content out there. Can it, rise to the top? In the content itself, like, is it actionable? Is it funny? Whatever direction you want to take it, we wanted to let these guys, play to their strengths, so to speak. With the table set, it was time to dive in. First up, PPR Tyler and Michael O'Hara. Tyler, of course, earned lock status after a great submission, but became a much more polarizing character after selling out his Toxic Tower co-host.
Fork over those fucking site credits, Newbie. I want my $500, baby. Give it to me.
Oh my.
At first, PPR Tyler leaned into the bit.
If you hated what I did before, you're not going to love this.
Then he got scared and backtracked.
But I'm going to give you some of it.
No, you got to give me all of it, actually.
I don't know about that.
Tyler is clearly trying to have it both ways. He knows the betrayal was the right move for the show, but he simultaneously has been trying to pacify the extremely emotional Toxic Tower fans, which now makes it the worst of both worlds. But we're moving on. It was time to see what else Tyler had in his bag. He's a high school football coach, a ball knower through and through. His partner, Michael O'Hara, is a writer and podcaster who only made it this far by surviving the fan vote after the Tout twist. On paper, they set up to have the complementary skill sets that would play well for Levitan and Silva.
All right, Mikey, big spot here, third down. Here we go. We're going to go scatter to West right tight, F left, 372 Y sticksy spot on one-on-one.
All right, boys, we got scatter to left, right tight, Z spot, X left, on one, break.
Mikey, that's not the play. Let's just go scatter to West right tight, F left, 372 Y sticksy spot.
All right, Tyler, man, I tried, man, but I cannot get this. I'm just here to talk analytics, man. No one cares about the ball takes.
All right, enough with the skit. We are here to break down our favorite and least favorite stacks for 2026 fantasy football. I'm breaking down the film. Michael's got the analytics. Michael, what do we got?
We have Kyler Murray and Justin Jefferson with the Minnesota Vikings. I know Justin Jefferson disappointed last year, but let's remember what he was dealing with McCarthy. He had just 95 catchable targets. He's never had a number lower than that since he was a rookie, and his catchable target rate was among the worst of all wide receivers in 2025. We all know what we're getting out of Kevin O'Connell. He's a guy who performed the exorcism on Sam Darnold. He had us calling Josh Dobbs the Pastronaut. And when they all three come together, we are going to get one of the premier stacks in fantasy football. An elite wide receiver, a rushing quarterback, and a sharp coach who is going to lead the way.
Love everything you had to say there, Michael. Now, let me tell you what I see when I watch Kyler Murray from last year in 2025. Now, everyone says, the interceptions wasn't playing well. I'll tell you who wasn't playing well is a guy named Marvin Harrison right here. This is an inside route. Look how wide open the middle of the field is. Marvin Harrison, stay on this path. Be quarterback friendly. Help your quarterback out. What does Marvin Harrison do? He stops running the route. He stops running the route. Shades of DJ Moore in the playoffs, and it's an interception. But yeah, no, Kyler Murray got benched. Kyler Murray sucks. All right, now we're going to be talking about why I don't like Brian Thomas Jr. and Trevor Lawrence in 2026. Now, as a Brian Thomas, he's going to be asked to play outside a ton this year. His job is to win deep. Plays like this show you why you should not be drafting Brian Thomas Jr. in 2026. He has to stack this receiver. It's single coverage, no safety help. Brian, this is your time to shine, baby. And what do? You get absolutely mogged out of bounds, pushed out of bounds. Lawrence actually throws a pretty good ball, but you can't get to it. And another thing you're going to need from your outside receiver is an ability to run these deep in-breaking routes. We got Brian Thomas Jr., bottom of the screen right here. Middle of the field is open on this play. What does Brian do at the top of his route? Stumbles out of it. Trevor Lawrence can't find him because Brian Thomas can't run the goddamn route the way it's supposed to be run. And this is the chemistry that people are buying into in 2026.
Tyler, I need to stop you right there, man. Stop. You're slandering my boy's name, and I won't stand for it. Brian Thomas Jr. is the guy that you need in 2026.
He's not the guy you need on third and long.
Wrist injury in 2025. He had the yips. It's a recoverable disease. Liam Cohen told me personally that this guy is the engine of his passing attack, and I am buying into it after one down year. You're buying into Parker Washington. We're talking about a guy who averaged 2.45 yards per route run. He's a top 5 receiver at 22 years old, and you're going to fade him after one down year? Give me a break. We're all buying into Trevor Lawrence. We're all buying into Liam Cohen, and you don't want the first-round draft pick? I mean, come on. Give me the guy who put together one of the best rookie wide receiver seasons we have ever seen. This is the key to fantasy football in 2026.
You know what, Michael? I don't want to hear a single thing left of what you have to say. You've never played. You've never coached. You need to go touch some grass because you obviously don't even know what cover 2 is. You don't know what quarters is. So stop talking to me about Brian Thomas Jr.
This is fantasy football. You play on your phone. You play on your computer. You don't need to know what football is to win at this game. I mean, I don't even know what to say to you anymore. You don't even like Brian Thomas Jr. Just cut the video. Duo week is over, man.
I'll say this, Overzet. It's really good to disagree at times with the person. I don't personally like listening to people just like get really heated with each other over something as silly as like, is Brian Thomas good? Because my take on a lot of this stuff is the sample size is so small, it's unknowable. Like sitting here being like, Brian Thomas sucks or Brian Thomas is the best ever. I don't really like those kind of arguments. So these guys are clearly very, very, very knowledgeable. I'd much rather see them have like a civil debate than a yelling debate.
I really like the content. I mean, I was like getting into it. I mean, I think it's legit good analysis. I think both guys are good analysts, and they don't need to start screaming at each other.
It's already creative, right? Like, there is like film versus metrics type of content, but just a show where someone's arguing from the analytical side and someone's showing clips, like that would play. People would eat that stuff up.
But the guy who came out talking about analytics all of a sudden like got emotional, started talking about emotional things. So he kind of like immediately veered off his path.
Real arguments to me in podcasts that I enjoy, it's when it's almost simmering underneath the surface. It's like the whole thing on even ADP chasing, they had the phrase, that's fair. Because it's like someone says something, it's like, I fucking completely disagree with what you say, but that's fair, whatever. So like there's ways that you could show your disagreement without pretending you're Skip Bayless or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to get to the answer is my problem. Like, you could sit here and argue about this all day and you're not going to get to the answer. So yeah.
Up next, Rick and Jerry. Jerry delighted us in the Tout twist by committing to the German bit and cracking us up about Cade Otton.
Cade Otton is the worst pick in fantasy football. I mean, he's an unathletic white boy with a lot of target competition.
But he also is boys with the Toxic Tower crew, so this pairing with Rick had the potential to be messy. Rick, of course, had earned lock status by being a pot stirrer, but it was time to see if he had any range beyond that.
The NFL is finally in Germany. I'm such a big underdog this week. I need to know how to win.
Jerry, go home, burn sage, watch Rick Jerry show, stacks QB plus pass catches.
The Rick and Jerry show. I need to learn how to stack. The Rick and Jerry show.
Welcome back to the Rick and Jerry Show. We're talking about combining your fantasy quarterback with their pass catchers, otherwise known as stacking. This strategy increases your fantasy upside because every pass that your quarterback throws to their wide receiver, tight end, or running back, both players get points. Now, over to Jerry in Germany for the NFL game this weekend.
Thanks, Rick. I'm live here in Germany, and these Germans are buzzing for some American football. Now, the stack I'm going to be targeting is Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra has over 100 friends and family members attending this game and multiple touchdown celebrations planned. He's looking to keep his hot streak alive with over 500 yards and 4 touchdowns in their last 3 games since the bye week. Jahmyr Gibbs, on the other hand, has shown some concern about the slippery grass field and stout Patriots run defense. Christian Gonzalez vows to lock down Jameson Williams, and Sam Laporta has been dealing with some back flare-ups. So I'm going to be riding the hot hand with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you should check your waiver wire to see if Jared Goff is still available and you can stack them up. They're both looking at top 3 finishes this week. It will be electric. Back to you, Rick.
Thanks, Jerry. We'll get to the Patriots side of this game after the break.
Looking to make up points in your fantasy matchup? Once Weekly Stack It can help. Stack It! Stack It is proven to raise your weekly ceiling. People that took Stack It reported increased screenshot equity, and you may get weekly high points. Side effects may include roster rating, loss of eligibility, and a strong desire for pass plays. Ask your fantasy tout if Stack It is right for you.
And we're back. A.J. Brown became a Patriot this summer. However, just this week, he was spotted reading the pout fish at the airport while complaining about the long flight to Germany. If A.J. Brown is back to his old antics, I would look at some of the secondary pass catchers in New England this week. Specifically, Romeo Doubs and Hunter Henry. They have good matchups, and if the Patriots find themselves losing this game, we could see a lot of passes going to Ramondre Stevenson or Trevion Henderson. These contrarian stacks could be the key to winning you a daily fantasy contest or even your matchup this week. Isn't that right, Jerry?
Absolutely. I cannot wait to see how this game plays out.
I think in like today's climate, even if you're trying to do bits and be funny, like you still have to like come with some level of strong analysis beyond,
I couldn't even tell you. I don't have a single positive. I didn't learn anything from what we just watched.
Yeah, and it seems like they were going for the entertainment angle. The commercial was really, really, really well done. There's enough people out there that are entertaining and super sharp that like you need to also have the football depth, I think, right?
Right, because it's like that Oxy stacking clip or whatever would be a great just standalone Twitter bit. It'd be something like the ETR social team would tweet out or whatever, but that can't be the heart of the show between two people, unless your whole thing is you just make sketches, right? You're just doing like, I've gone through stages where I've done that, but then you need a whole show full of sketches, individual self-contained sketches.
Does that guy live in Germany or something? Is that why he was dressed in the Lederhosen or whatever it's called?
This is what happens with bits nestled within bits. It's because when he came on screen, Pat Mayo said,
"This guy not having a German accent the moment he started speaking really threw me."
So he's been leaning into it now and dressed up like a German.
It fooled me. I thought he was German, yeah.
Next up, our most interesting pair, Alex Cupps and Curt Rambus, the data scientist with a master's thesis in fantasy football, paired with an exterminator from Wisconsin who showed up to his challenge last week with a beer and scored his own bear case a 2 out of 10. We engineered this pairing on purpose and couldn't wait to see what they dialed up.
Okay, Joe Biden.
What the data says about drafting fucking shippers, baby. What's up, everybody? It's Alex Cupps.
And Curt Rambus here, baby.
And welcome to
Shipper fucking Lytics. Everyone knows stacks are important, but who's the best? Well, Cupps and Ramby are here to give you the goods and let you know who is the stack you need.
Rambus and I are going to give you each of our favorite stacks in 2026. We're going to kick it off right now. Rambus, tell the people, who's your favorite stack this year?
My favorite stack of 2026 is Caleb Williams and Colston fucking Loveland. All the money is made in weeks 15, 16, and 17. So week 15 at the Bills. Week 16 It's Christmas. You know what Santa delivered? He delivered the pack at the Bears. And then for the grand finale, we got the Lions on the road against the Bears. I mean, shit. Every total is going to be 48 or above. Pupsy, give me a little stat bomb.
Loveland, he might dress like a fourth grader at recess, but his game is all grown up. Not only was Loveland electric as a rookie, but when he came into the league, he was the third highest graded tight end in my entire tight end model that goes back to 2014.
You want another little analytical stat bomb? I got one for you. Colston Loveland, fourth in air yards, 740. Guess what he was in routes run? 17th. Trey McBride, 699 routes run. Colston Loveland, a little less than half. But yet he had the fourth most receiving yards out of all the tight ends. Who's intrigued? Ramby's intrigued. Cups, who's your favorite stack of 2026? You know I respect your opinion.
I'll tell you right now who my favorite stack of 2026 is. And we're going to take it a little bit different here. We're going to go quarterback and running back.
Okay.
These quarterback and running back, they can be pretty sneaky good stacks. They're reliant on two things being true, though. We need to have one, a quarterback that's a pocket passer, and two, we need to have a running back that knows how to catch the ball.
Who you got, Cupsy? Who you got, bud?
I have Ashton Genty and none other than the first overall pick out of Indiana, Fernando Mendoza. Looking at the top 5 quarterback and running back stacks from 2025, as you can see right here, we need that pocket passer quarterback and we need that running back that catches the ball. And we know that this is what we get with Fernando Mendoza and Ashton Genty. A lot of people seem to be underrating Genty as a receiver, but if we look back to his second year in college, 44 receptions. That's an 89th percentile number among all running backs in my model. 3.2 yards per out run. That's a 96th percentile number.
Preach!
He's a better receiving prospect looking at these numbers than guys like Bijan Robinson or Jeremiah Love. He really does have a similar receiving profile to a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs. Rambus, tell me right now what you think about Fernando Mendoza in Las Vegas.
Mendoza, number 1 overall pick. You know what program sucked complete donkey balls? Indiana. They were terrible until this guy got there. Welcome to a national title. This guy at Underdog is going behind the likes of Cam Ward. Are you shitting me?
Who's Kirk Cousins?
He's Kirk Cousins. You like that? I don't. Fucking Mendoza is gonna ship it, and he's gonna be doing a bunch of dump off to Genty.
Welcome to the big leagues, baby. Cups and Rambus. Week 1, so you think you can tout? It's on.
Shipperlytics, bitch. That's how we do it. That's a banger.
I think it's easier to evaluate when they're not doing the bits and they kind of just do it like this. It's way easier to evaluate. It's like a little corny for me, I would say personally, but I have a very low bar for what I find corny. I find like everything corny. So maybe I'm not the best judge for that, but yeah, a little corny for me, but clearly very, very knowledgeable. And it seems like dudes that I'd love to hang out with.
I would say probably the best information of any of the submissions that we've watched, just in terms of sheer information, is just the Curt Rambus dude is like trying to play a character. And I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I went to college in Wisconsin. Like I've probably hung out with this dude before, but yeah, on my fantasy football show, I don't, I need something a little bit more serious.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Mayo had a similar type of thing of like, obviously this guy can't host a show or whatever, but in bite sizes, a correspondent, a guest type of thing. And so then Alex gets tossed, an interesting draw because you get someone who's very charismatic, who's going to bring the energy. It's not going to be dry, but you're also going to maybe rub people the wrong way or be like, I can't watch an hour of this.
Yeah. Like if you're running an entire like media platform like Mayo or I could definitely see a role for Curt Rambus. You know what I mean? But as doing a 30-minute or hour fantasy show, that's going to be tough.
It's also, it's funny, Silva, you said the like character thing too, because he's one of the few people who it does seem like he's playing a character, but based on everything we've seen from him, this is just who this dude is.
Well, some people in Wisconsin legitimately act like that, especially like the more north you get.
Yeah. And I think that, you see him fidgeting in his chair, right? Like he can't even sit still. Yeah. And he is shot out of a cannon every time he sends us a video. Like it just doesn't matter. The dude's energy is electric. And so he's resonated with a lot of people who are just like, this guy's so entertaining. But it is really interesting to see it in this context and be like, okay, but be serious, be for real. How much of this guy's content would you consume?
Not that much. I mean, yeah, I just assumed that he was doing a bunch of drugs, which I'm all for. I'm just saying that was my assumption.
He, even like all his jokes and energy aside, has said like he wants to make it in fantasy football to have additional income streams. He sees this as like a way out.
I had all my spare money in my checks. I just pump in the drafts and shit because, like, you know, I'm 40. I'm trying to get fucking rich at this point. I'm tired of like just making $70K with 4 kids. You know what that is? That's called poor.
Well, I'm rooting for him. I just don't know if I'd watch him.
If I was thinking about ways to get a bunch of money, doing fantasy football content on YouTube would not be near the top of that list, but alas.
From the most polarizing pairing to maybe the most unlikely one, Tony Squares and Neil Farley. Tony has one of the biggest reality TV followings in this competition, while Neil is the most data-driven analyst in the field. Neil wiggled his way into this round with a mulligan submission, and Squares had previously earned lock status, which means we've honestly not seen much from either of these two up to this point, and it's something other contestants have noticed.
Tony Squares, bro, you're supposed to be the villain. Like, you've done nothing villainous thus far.
Neil Farley is, if I had to choose someone, that would be the person where I'm like, huh?
Here's what Tony said when he learned he got paired with Neil for this challenge.
What the fuck are you doing to me, Peter? I got the most important day of my entire career tomorrow. I just went to Men's Warehouse to buy a suit, hoping to like the way I look. I got a haircut. I don't even like it. I didn't even go to my regular guy because he wasn't available. And yet this morning, at 3:30 a.m., I get an email from you saying I got a partner? Neil? What are you trying to kick me out of this thing so early? This guy has the charisma of an ant. I'm going to have to reach down into the depths to drag him up to relevance, to make him interesting. Yeah, he's smart. I know he's smart. I'm smart too. And yet now I got a tag team partner that I got to deal with because of you, because this is what you want. But I'll do it. I'll do it. Because I am a team player, and even though I couldn't be any busier, I want to be a tout.
Anyways, it was time to see what Squares and I guess the ant cooked up.
And welcome to the debut episode of Professor Farley's Fantasy Fortress. That's right, Tony Squares is here acting as you, the student, the one ready to learn more about the fantasy football world. And today, we're breaking out Professor Farley's finest attire, and he's going to teach us a thing or two about fantasy football. Professor?
Welcome in, class. We'll be using Tony today to go over what we're looking for in some of these stacks. We're getting the points from the quarterback and the wide receiver, and that's going to really lift us up to the top of these tournaments. So to just play a little game. I want to play a game. See, how do these things match up exactly? While all stacks are great, they're not all created equal. So we have some wide receiver metrics that we're looking at, as well as we can toggle to some quarterback metrics.
Is there anything in particular that stands out to you that you look for when trying to find the perfect stack?
I think that there's a number of things you want to look for. You want to make sure that the wide receiver is efficient and that he's also demanding the targets. If he's not sort of like the first or second read on the offense, it's going to be pretty hit or miss. And like even when the quarterback goes off, it doesn't necessarily mean that the wide receiver is kind of coming along for the ride at that point.
When you're looking at stack C, then, that targets per route run, that scares you off a little bit. No, 69 is nice in some positions, but not in fantasy football when there's only 105 applicants.
It's definitely something I like to practice, but not when it comes to fantasy. So he is at the same time of getting open on these deeper routes, but he's not getting the ball as much. Like, let's toggle over to quarterback. The deep throw rate for quarterback C is very, very low, near the bottom of the league. Do you have any idea who we might be looking at here, or sort of which stack you think is the lowest down on your tier of fits?
Well, Professor Farley, the lowest one for me is that stack C fit, mostly because the completion percentage over expected is very high, but the deep throw rate being low on the quarterback and the deep throw rate being high on the wide receiver with not a lot of targets to him, I think you're asking for very few attempts to cash in week by week in order to succeed. So stack C is the one I'm staying away from.
I'd have to agree with you there. I think when you look at stack C, I'm a little uneasy about that vertical breaking rate as well as that deep throw rate. It kind of might mix together like orange juice and toothpaste. Not something that you want to be doing together. Do you have any idea who that is?
Sorry. The non-rushing attempts by the quarterback makes me think this is purely a pocket passer. Could this be a quarterback on a new team? I'm going to go with Geno Smith as the quarterback and maybe Garrett Wilson as the receiver.
A little bit off, but I see exactly where you're going with this. We're talking Jameson Williams and Jared Goff. What do you think about that?
Oh, wow. That makes me happy. That means the blood is flowing through my veins.
Got to start you on an up note on our first lesson here in class. Don't want you to leave early.
So, Professor, let me turn the tables on you. Out of the 3 remaining, is there any one that really sticks out that you're interested in?
I think that the way that B sort of meshes together works really well. The highest deep throw rate, very high yards per attempt. So we're talking about a very efficient passer for a wide receiver who really does want to look downfield and look for those big plays to speed up this game. So do you want to take a shot at who that is?
Well, with the number 1 deep throw rate in the entire league, it has to be my boy Jordan Love. Am I wrong?
No, you're spot on there. Yeah.
Thank
Jordan
you.
Love and Christian Watson going deep down the field.
Just so I could be clear, Professor, you're telling me that a Jordan Love Christian Watson combo is better than a Jared Goff Jameson Williams combo?
They're a better click in my eyes. These sort of stack meshes and how they complement each other can be exploitable too. Both Jordan Love and Christian Watson go after Jameson Williams and Jared Goff. That's something that you can really look to exploit in some of these drafts. You maybe get the better player as well as the better stack.
And the last question, Professor Farley, if we were put up to it, would you sell me out of this competition for $500 in site credits?
If I did take the money, I probably wouldn't be spending it on one draft with you immediately. To each their own. I'd probably be okay keeping you in it for a little bit longer. You're a fun guy to check out.
I appreciate that. And maybe in the end, that's the moral lesson we can all learn.
I kind of always thought that this would be a good concept. Like, you got one guy asking all of the FAQ, providing the FAQ, and then one guy basically teaching him how to play DFS. I always thought that would be, you don't necessarily need 2 guys, 2 analysts going back and forth.
Is this a bit they're doing where like one guy is like the nerdy smart guy and one guy is like the ball knower, or is that who they actually are?
It's who they are. Neil Farley, big like data scientist, data bro, definitely loves best ball. And then Tony Squares is this guy who he has this huge following covering reality TV on Instagram, but loves fantasy football. He knows football, but he's on the newer side, I think, to fantasy as far as like hardcore fantasy. And so, yeah, they're definitely on opposite ends of the spectrum of fantasy football.
Yeah. Well, it's a good mix for sure.
And I guess the only other thing I would, the other thing I kind of liked about this is just we know how popular even sports trivia stuff is right now, like creating more games and stuff, because you're watching along at home. I'm sure some people have guesses. Anything that allows the viewer to play along at home, I think is really strong.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
Next, we have Emo Cowboy and Nathaniel Wright. Another duo with big wild card energy. Emo's had a roller coaster show so far, from a polarizing submission to the awkward bout with Rick to finally winning us over with his mulligan submission. As for Nathaniel, he barely made the contender challenge after a bizarre submission, but then turned out to be a shockingly competent tout who was unfazed by the tout twist.
It'd be insane to think Juwan Johnson is the best pick on the board. He's awful. Like, you added Jordan Tyson. Chris Olave is a true number 1 wide receiver. Tyler Shuck is 26.
When these two found out they were paired together, the reactions were a little mixed.
That guy, Nathaniel, the weird hair guy. Fuck, man. I'm getting sandbagged. This is bullshit. Psycho eyes? I get psycho eyes? Come the fuck on, man.
Emo Cowboy, what are you doing? Crushing a banana in what looks like your underwear? That's not funny.
Let's see what challenge details we got. Open the email. Oh, it says partner challenge. Who? Oh, you gotta be shitting me.
If I get the version of Emo Cowboy that is trying to do bad jokes and thinks all these random bits are funny, and I'm going to be like, no, please, can we rein this in?
Here's what they came up with for their submission.
To stack or not to stack? That is the question. Whether 'tis noble...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Saturday Night Stack Down. In one corner, we have our completely unstacked, completely uncorrelated fighter, the Wimpy Kid. And in the other corner, we have our favorite, the stacked, the correlated, you know him, you love him, give it up with me for the Raging Cowboy! These two fighters will be going head to head in the arena. You know them, you love them, they're playing for the ultimate prize, the Stack Down title belt!
Stacking is when you take a quarterback and a pass catcher from the same team to correlate the positive ceiling outcomes. When they both do well together, the final result is far higher and more potent than separately, like a good tag team in WWE or a Dragon Ball fusion attack.
A good stack correlates your bets, so you have to get less things right to win your fantasy week.
A 30-point game from your quarterback could win your week, but if his big game included his pass catcher, a very likely scenario, say 3 scores between the quarterback and pass catcher, you are definitely going to win your week just from the 2 guys exploding together.
Take, for example, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. They blew up versus Baltimore for 7 combined touchdowns and over 700 combined yards. Talk about winning your fantasy week.
Or you could stack with a tight end, like when Dak Prescott threw all 3 of his touchdowns to Jake Ferguson in the fantasy football playoffs.
Or if you're feeling really adventurous, you can even stack your quarterback with a pass-catching running back. This worked out really well in Week 15 of 2025. When Brock Purdy threw 8 balls to Christian McCaffrey, he caught all of them for 2 tutties and went for over 100 yards on the ground. I mean, talk about winning your fantasy week. That's a blow-up.
These stacks all won people their weeks, and sometimes single-handedly won their leagues. When you stack correctly, the upside is through the roof. But a bad stack can leave you with no points, no hope. As they say, live by the stack, die by the stack.
But let's be honest, this is fantasy football. There's no difference in finishing 11th or 6th. There is a big difference between finishing 5th and 1st. So the downside may be there, but it doesn't matter. The upside, though, that is what can win you your fantasy league.
So 'tis simpler in the mind to stack. Stack players, stack wins, stack bills, player.
I'm so biased towards like trying to get information that will help me win that it's hard for me to evaluate when they're doing more of this kind of evergreenish kind of stuff. But these guys do strike me as like having the right temperament to do a YouTube show, like the right character to actually do a YouTube show.
I prefer the shows that are not like skits, but I think of all the skits that we've seen so far, this is probably the best, maybe just in terms of like way to like relay information.
They definitely went for the educational route. Like, hey, if you didn't know anything about stacking, would this be in the same way like, Magic School Bus, like teaching you basic concepts, like, judging them on that front? I'm wondering, would someone who's trying to get into best ball, would this be an interesting way for them to actually learn about this? Or is it so over the top that it would be alienating?
I think for a super beginner, I think it's effective. It's hard for anyone who like watches your channel to judge it because obviously we're all like deep in this stuff. But yeah, I would think that it would work for an intro level type thing. Yeah, I think so.
I agree.
Yeah, and it's interesting because so both Tyler and Nathaniel are like deep in it. These are like major best ball bros. Nathaniel's, maxing the eliminator contest, all of
Cowboy, emo Cowboy dude. I mean, I think I might follow him. He's like, or at least he pops into my feed a lot.
Yeah.
And I know who he is.
Yeah, so it is interesting to, they're both, I think, also performers. Nathaniel Wright's literally an actor. Emo, they basically did a little body switch thing where Emo was doing the acting like Nathaniel, and Nathaniel was doing the wrestling stuff that he really likes. I thought it was interesting that they kind of went that route, almost like the hokey version of themselves, as opposed to like, hey, we actually are really into fantasy football. Can we just be a heightened version of ourselves and talk really nerdy about fantasy?
Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear them talk really about fantasy, but again, we're not in season, so it's hard to like do stuff like that, which I get.
I guess if it really was, we're going to do an educational series about fantasy concepts for someone who's only ever played in one home league and wants to know more, could you do a 10-episode series in this style or whatever?
Yeah. I would think it would need to be less over the top, but yes, I think you could. Yeah.
Up next, Chad Candles and Trevor Glisson, two of the most likable guys in this competition paired up together. Trevor had some interesting thoughts about his draw.
I was pretty excited at first, man. The guy is universally loved, seems like the nicest guy on the planet. Like, I thought it was a great draw for me, but then I got to thinking, like, dude, he is literally in the lane that I want to be in, right? Like, super charismatic, the nice guy, everyone loves him, like, he can do no wrong. Like, dude, I want that lane. And right now, he's taking up the lane with an 18-wheeler with a boat pulling behind him. I just merge into that lane right now. Not with him nice mogging me on stream, on video all week. The man can make Mother Teresa look like an asshole next to him. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Let's see if the nice guys are about to finish last or not.
Chad Candles here with my friend Trev. Trev, we're going to talk about stacking today. What does stacking mean to you?
For me, man, stacking is just correlation, right? I want to take the best quarterbacks, pair them with their wide receiver ones, their wide receiver twos. I'll throw a tight end in there if I have to. Dude, I'll even take an RB2 on a good team, man. I just want all the points.
Love it. Love it. You know what? Actually, you got to cut it. You got to cut it here. Look.
You okay, man?
Trevor. No, look. Between us, it's taken me 20 years to win my home league one time. I've won it once in 20 years. These guys don't even know what stacking is. They call it double points. You got to help me. You got to help me. It's getting embarrassing.
I'm a level with you, man. That's not good, dude. We got to figure this out, dude. Like, we need to get into the stats. We need to get boots on the ground, dude. We need to get to the source of it all.
You're right. You're right. I know where I need to go. In fact, I got to go right now. I got to go.
Right now? Chad?
Which led me here to the most famous example of stacking of all, Stonehenge. Because of stacking, these rocks have lasted like this for 5,000 years. Because of stacking, Sam Sherman can now max BBM for the next 550. How'd he do it? Well, weeks 15 and 16, his Brock Purdy George Kittle stack went off for 45 and 52 fantasy points, propelling him through that absolutely brutal playoff gauntlet. Week 17 in the BBM 6 finals, Brock Purdy went off for 37. Now you might say, well, Chad, Brock Purdy wasn't stacked that week. Well, yes, but his team also had a Tyler Shuck, Chris Olave, Juwan Johnson double stack. And while Tyler Shuck didn't hit his lineup, the latter two did. So what we're seeing is that stacking lets Sam focus on good game environments, on good offenses, and raising both the floor and the ceiling of his team. So if what you're trying to do is win your home league, win BBM, or build a dynasty team that's going to last for 5,000 years or so, maybe you should consider stacking as part of your plan.
What am I doing? Chad's out there looking for answers. I got to go find answers too. Long and difficult search at my local playground, I finally found my first stacking fact. Stacked QB and wide receiver lineups are 28% more likely to score 40 points in a given week. After receiving the message from the playground, I knew I had to seek celestial guidance.
The koi fish wishes to grant me its wisdom.
The koi fish gave me a note. The note read, "Stacking consolidates production. You are doubling down on the same explosive offense." I received notes from the playground and the fishes, but I needed more. I needed to talk to someone important.
Here's the money.
All of it?
Would be enough. Here is your note. Don't talk to me again ever.
In DFS, double stacks showed up in 44% of top 25 lineups, but only 30% of losing lineups. I got to get these to Chad.
All right, Trev. How am I winning my home league this year?
All right, man. So I talked to the fish. I talked to some people in high places, and it's not the stacking you're doing wrong. Your league mates aren't sharp. I think you're just a best ball bro. You're too best ball brain. You're chasing the sharp plays instead of the good plays, man.
That's fair. I mean, I was about to ask you your favorite stacks, and now I realize mine is Daniel Jones and Josh Downs. So I'm sure you're going to tell me I'm too best ball brain there too.
The ancient wisdom of the Stonehenge told you Daniel Jones was who you needed this year. Man, I talked to the fish. They told me it's Jaden Daniels. You need to take Jaden Daniels, take him with McLaurin, and call it a day.
The fish would say that. That's the easiest stack you could find. Look, don't all get infinite draft capital here. All right. Well, for Trev, I'm Chad Candles. Find us on Twitter. Hey, Pete, chat. Make sure to vote for us. We're going to be here all summer. I hope you are too. All right.
Is that really Stonehenge? I don't know. I don't go to Europe.
No,
so, I wouldn't know.
It's a great question. It really is. Chad had a trip planned to London, and I don't know if he was always going to go to Stonehenge or once he realized he had to make a video about stacking.
It's
clicked,
hilarious that he's talking about this stuff outside of freaking Stonehenge.
More people need to commit to on-location recording, I think, Evan.
This is cool. In the midst of like a 17-week season, it's going to be hard to execute stuff like this. Like mostly it's just going to be like Evan and I do. We fire it up and we talk for like an hour. Like, so these bits are super cool. Is this the idea of the show though, that you're going to do with these people? You're going to send them out to do bits at fucking Stonehenge and at the pond and shit like that?
No. If anything, you know, one of the feedback we gave to people over and over again after the initial submission thing was essentially people were trying too hard. They were either trying to be funny, they had elaborate bits, and we're like, we just want you to be you. And I think the idea of creativity definitely gets distorted in some ways of like creativity is like a slightly different structure or way of delivering information, just not doing the same talking head thing as everyone else. I think it's fair to say that the pendulum swings way too far in the other direction with some of these shows.
Yeah, I get it though. It's really hard, you know, to do something that stands out. Like if you tried to do an ETR type show, we'd be sitting here saying, "Man, this is really boring" or something. You know what I mean? So like, I get that what they're trying to do. It's just hard to tell how they would actually do on a 2-man regular show, not filming from Stonehenge. You know what I mean?
I think it's also hard, Evan, too. Like one of the things I was hoping for and I liked about the PPR Tyler and Michael is we actually saw them conversing. A lot of these, it was like, okay, I'm going to go record this part. You'll record this. We'll stitch it together. But to Adam's point of being sustainable, it doesn't like tell us that much about how they vibe together. Next, we have Goofy Chicken in Mitchell Daigle. Goofy earned lock status, and after PPR Tyler's Judas act, he's arguably positioned himself as the most likable frontrunner in the competition.
Hope everybody's doing good out there this weekend. Thanks for clucking with me. Goofy, Chicken, fantasy.
Daigle stumbled out of the gates with a bad Mayo review, but he crushed the Tout Twist challenge.
Plus, in a dynasty setting, Javonte Williams more of a short-term asset. I don't really like his longevity 2-3 seasons down the line.
We knew they'd have something interesting for us.
Jaron, which quarterback wide receiver combo are you fading this year?
I am fading the Tennessee Titans Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley. Cam Ward had the lowest EPA in the league at minus 143. Based upon those analytics and my model, it's a fade for me. How was that?
I don't know, dog. I don't think this is it. What do you think?
Bro, you're right. I think we're cooked. Damn, man. Online reality show competition, working as a team.
Yo, where you at?
I'm at the Waffle House, bro. What's up?
What Waffle House?
On the west side. Why does it matter?
All right, bet.
What the hell are you doing here?
All right, Goofy, you know I had to come down here because elite duos are formed off the field, not on the field. Jalen Hurts didn't even go to A.J. Brown's wedding last year, and you saw the results. They weren't clicking.
All right, man, I get your point. This is crazy. We'll hit the city, but we're not going to hit the city with you dressed like this. Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy are an elite duo. You add DK Metcalf in there, that's an elite trio.
As long as DK doesn't slap the shit out of a fan again.
Yellow 8! Yellow 8! DK!
Hey, I'll tell you who I've been fishing for lately. Them Bengals. Everyone was double stacking them last year, but this is the year they're gonna hit.
Yeah, Joe Burrow loves the fish.
Not as much as he loves Jamar Chase, though.
True. All right, Commish, you made your point, man. Building relationships off the field are key to making great stats.
Yeah, like you and me today, you know? The key to this fantasy season is targeting players that already have chemistry.
Let me ask you something. I love Drake London, but who should I stack with him? Tua Tagovailoa or Michael Penix?
Michael Penix, baby, it's easy. They played together last year.
Shit, man. All right, man, let's get out this damn rain.
Yeah.
All right, I get what you're talking about, Commish, but are you ready for this?
I am now.
Drove 20 hours here in a hotel room. We scouted locations all weekend. You got us the fly suits in the game. Talk to the people, Goofy.
Hey, they put us together because they knew we were an elite stack. They put us together because the people want to see us advance. And all we had to do was give the people what they wanted.
We're the best duo in the league right now, all right? Put us on the field. We're combining for 250 yards right now.
Tom Brady, Randy Moss, Hall of Fame stack, better than the rest.
Enough said.
Do they talk about like football at all? Because this is really good. I'm actually interested in the skip. But do they talk about football at all or no?
Just very, very loosely like this. Just some references to stacks, and then they bop around town. Silva, you might be interested to know they end up at Magic City.
I mean, the production quality and everything is amazing. I love the storyline. This is not fantasy football content. It's like a movie. You know, or like a TV series or something that I might watch.
That's what's so interesting. So obviously these guys don't live in the same city. I believe Mitchell is in Virginia, Goofy Chicken obviously in Atlanta. And, Mitchell, he's been even accused of being the extra credit guy with some of his submissions. So driving down to Atlanta. But the thing that I was kind of frustrated with, I'm like, if you talked fantasy football, but you were doing it in person and everyone's like, wait, what the fuck? You guys were the ones that did this in person? It wasn't over Zoom or whatever. I feel like it would have hit really hard, that reveal. But then they just made the whole thing about them being together in person.
I'd like to see them talk about fantasy football, but clearly they're really, really, really good on camera. And whoever produced, directed, edited this is clearly talented.
And that's the thing, that this submission of all of them, I struggled with the most. Both these guys are awesome on camera. What they did, like you said, like a buddy cop movie trailer, like they crushed that. The prompt was a fantasy football video about stacks. And so to me, I'm like, how do we judge that? Silva, would you watch more of this duo?
Yeah.
Do we have any interior shots from Magic City or only the exterior of Magic City?
Uh-oh. Looks like, sorry, Silva. So yeah, they played into the theme, best stacks developed off the field, on-field chemistry. I do wonder, could there have been a way to do that was a little football related? You talk about the Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp breakfast narrative. Of course, Levitan, the shower narrative would have been a good one to tie in here. Diving into, is there actually any correlation with that stuff? Could have been an interesting angle.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd like to see more. I'd like to see them talk about football, but yeah.
Finally, we have Brian Hartman and Zack McDonald. Hartman forced his way into this competition through sheer persistence, no Mayo review. He's a fan vote survivor, wasn't supposed to be here. Zack is the comedian from Toronto who works at The Score and earned lock status thanks to his on-camera chops. But he's still got a lot to prove. Here's their submission.
Good evening, fantasy football shoppers, and welcome to Stack Shop Live. I'm Zack McDonald. That's Brian Hartman.
Tonight, we're bringing you premium fantasy football stacks at prices your league mates are too scared to touch.
We've got some ugly names, but they've got great games, Brian. So let me tell you about our first deal. This is a deal that if you must act on it now. You can't wait. This isn't just a clearance sale. It's a full-on blowout. No risk, high reward. We're talking about a guy in his last 3 healthy seasons. He's been quarterback 5 in fantasy football. He's a former MVP candidate, and you're getting him in the last rounds of your draft. He once signed
the largest contract in NFL history, and he's available for pennies on the dollar. This kind of deal. Don't wait. Call in now. There's no need to massage this deal. It's not a stretch. We won't take no for an answer. With an ADP of QB 32, Deshaun Watson, what could possibly go wrong? And we're pairing him with a wide receiver, pass catcher, KC Concepcion, who's currently wide receiver 51. He could be playing the Zay Flowers role in Todd Monken's offense, who was wide receiver 7.5 PPR last year.
I like that.
Thinking, Deshaun Watson? Do I really want a sex criminal on my fantasy football team? Well, listener, that's why they call it fantasy football. It's not real, and this deal is so good, it doesn't feel real. So act fast and buy now. Brian, what else do we have to offer today?
Zach, today I'm bringing the folks at home something absolutely amazing. Stacks at bargain prices, and honestly, that's why I'm interested. This quarterback's going into his second year. From week 8 on, when he took over, he was a top 10 quarterback in fantasy points, in quarterback rushing attempts, and quarterback rushing yards. So now we know we've got ourselves a mobile quarterback. Let's smack that in the Kellen Moore offense that's fast-paced, at basically no cost. Yeah, we're talking Tyler Shuck. But no, the real value here, it's Juwan Johnson. People are always surprised when he produces. He was a part of the last 3 BBM winners. And while they have chemistry going all the way back to 2019, you've got yourself a safety blanket, a mobile quarterback, and a fast offense. And Zach, ugly stacks don't need to be safe. Fortunately, this one kind of is. So while everyone else is drafting emotionally stable fantasy football teams, I'll be over here buying Saint stacks at liquidation prices.
Brian, we've obviously offered 2 great deals here. Deshaun Watson, KC Concepcion, Tyler Shuck, Juwan Johnson. Surely we don't have any more deals. We're going to go bankrupt if we have any more deals.
Yes, in our next stack, we're talking about a quarterback who's quietly had back-to-back 375-yard rushing seasons. This guy was top 10 in passing touchdowns, while his top 2 targets were out for a combined 17 games. This kid also missed 5 games, and he was that high up on the board.
You're talking about Baker Mayfield, coming off one of the best seasons of his career at quarterback 20. How about we pair him with a former All-Pro wide receiver? How about we pair him with a guy who is no longer in the shadow of Mike Evans? How about we pair him with one of the most consistently productive slot receivers in all of football? How about we pair him with Chris Godwin?
And now we're taking the wide receiver who already knows spacing in his role in the offense. He's a proven producer, and now we're linking him up with Zach Robinson, the guy who had a hand with Sean McVay in the Triple Crown season out of the slot for Cooper Kupp. So while everyone else is chasing the shiny new toys, I'm betting on the proven production. Zach, close us out of here.
You absolutely love it. 3 incredible stacks you need to draft in fantasy football this year. Deshaun Watson and KC Concepcion, Tyler Shuck and Juwan Johnson, and Baker Mayfield and Chris Godwin. Call now. Don't let a single second go by. Thank you so much for shopping with Stack Shop Live.
I think they're both pretty good on camera, especially the guy on the right is super comfortable on camera, which I think is harder than it seems for people like to get up here and do this kind of stuff. So that's definitely a big feather in the cap there. And this is like easier to evaluate because this is more like of the stuff that we watch. I don't know if I'd say I'd want to watch 20 minutes necessarily, but I'm at least interested.
The guy on the right is definitely from Canada. You could tell that Hamilton Tiger Cats and Montreal Canadiens in the background.
You're a sleuth.
Nothing against them for that, but he's from Canada.
Yeah, you said you wanted to build the wall to keep them out, right?
Yeah, they're good. I mean, they are doing a sketch. They're doing a bit, but I mean, I think they're doing it well.
I guess it's another one of those too where they have their kind of recorded parts and we don't actually get to see them play off of each other, which makes it valuable. So there you have it. 8 submissions. Now it's time to get the scores and figure out who is surviving and who is going home. We have 3 total scores, one from each of our guest judges, Levitan and Silva, and 1 internal score from me and the production team. The grades are based on 2 simple inputs, creativity and the content itself. It's worth noting our team scored all 8 submissions before this session, so there was 0 influence from what Silva and Levitan said. Envelope, please.
He's not the guy you need on third long. Risk injury.
I would go 7 because I think these guys would be super coachable for how to do a show together. They have the knowledge. Being able to like evaluate film and produce film, I think is a really good skill. Also to like be able to share it with people in in an interesting way. So yeah, I'll go 7, and they could probably be coached up to be a higher score probably.
I'll go 8.5. I think they have real legit potential.
We were in lockstep with Silva and Levitan on PPR Tyler and O'Hara. Our internal average was 7.8, smack dab between the Levitan and Silva scores, resulting in one of the highest scores and strongest submissions of the bunch. Congrats, PPR Tyler and Michael O'Hara. We think you can tout. Welcome to the Final 10.
The Rick and Jeary Show.
I mean, I feel bad, like, giving a real low score, but I don't know if this is happening here. So 3.
We need the honesty. We saw what Pat Mayo did. There's no pulling punches. These guys can take it. They signed up for a reality TV show, and people have they've been wanting actual feedback about stuff. Their submissions, how they are on camera, all this stuff. So if you guys do have any words of wisdom to add on to your score, things you think they could work on, by all means, let it rip.
Yeah, I didn't love the bit, and I didn't really think the football analysis was there either. So I'll go 3.5.
Same story with Rick and Jeary. We were all in agreement. Our internal score was 3.3, the lowest of the day across every scorecard. We liked that Jeary leaned into the German bit for the tout twist last week, but then they really ran it into the ground here. Rick is a ball knower, so it was disappointing to not see more of that here. It was clear Rick wanted to make a brand pivot away from the antagonist, but it fell flat here.
Not feeling great, but it's a lot of things you can't control in life. That doesn't mean you stop going, so we're just gonna roll with the punches.
At the very least, Rick, the man who gave us our first beef, leaves this competition with a new friend.
And if I had to choose partners again, I'd probably only choose maybe 1 or 2 people over Jeary, and that's just because I know him a little bit better. So Jeary, I love you, man.
So unfortunately, fellas, your run on the show ends here. We don't think you can tout.
If I did take the money, I probably wouldn't be spending it on one draft with you immediately.
I think this kind of content is good. In other words, like what I talked about with me and Silva, like, ball knower versus something else. And so I thought this was a really good pairing. I know that was luck of the draw, but it got a really good pairing. And I thought they did a really good job with it. I would watch more. So I'd probably go 8 on this one.
See, I didn't think that this dude, Tony, and the Packers came off as like very much of a ball knower. I thought that the other guy was like the expert, and he was pretty good at what he did. But I really like the concept, and for that, I'm giving him a 7.5.
Tony and Neil were our highest internal score of the day at 8.3. Silva and Levitan were right there with us. This was the clearest consensus of the 8, a concept that worked, executed cleanly without overthinking it. Tony emerged from the duo process having done a complete 180 on Neil.
And I couldn't have been more wrong. Because whether you liked what we put together or not, it was absolutely a 50-50 collaborative effort. From the statistics to the character to him genuinely making me crack up in that video. I didn't know he had it in him. And so I give Neil a 9 out of 10 on the collaboration score, and that's only because I don't give out 10s.
The feeling was mutual.
I'm normally a pretty harsh grader, but I'd still probably give him like a 8.5 or so out of 10. Very, very strong to work with. Really enjoyed it. Just, haven't worked with him enough to, go much higher than that. Would recommend.
Tony and Neil, an unlikely duo, but we think you can tout. Welcome to the Final 10, fellas.
Whether 'tis noble...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Saturday Night Stack Down.
Both like very comfortable on camera and have like the presence, and I think pretty knowledgeable. I know we only saw basic stuff in this one, so I thought this one was pretty solid. I'll go 8 on this one, 8 flat.
I also thought it was solid, 7.
Emo and Nathaniel landed in the top half across all 3 scorecards with a 7.5 from our team. When you consider where these two started, Psycho Eyes and Come the Fuck On, the fact that they made a coherent, watchable submission together is impressive.
It was easy. It was fun. It was a good collaboration. Working with them afterwards, on a stream, really good chemistry. Worked well. I'd stream with them again. I'd work with them again. I was impressed. Good work ethic. Easy to work with. Some good criticism. Some good feedback. ultimately, I thought we had a lot of fun and did a good job with this challenge. So I would do it again.
Congrats, gentlemen. We think you can tout. See you in the final 10.
What the hell are you doing here?
I almost want to hire these guys to like do videos for us, but I have no idea what they know about football. You know what I mean? So, yeah, this is a really, really hard one. I want to see more. I want to see if they know football. So based on the criteria of do I want to see more? Yes, I think they might have the most upside out of any group that we saw if they actually know stuff about football and playing fantasy to win. So I'll go with 7.5 with the idea that if they know football and are really good at that, I would raise it to 8.5 or 9.
All right, 7.5 official score from Adam. Silva, what do you give this duo?
Yeah, actually, the last thing I want to see from these guys is whether or not they know anything about football. I want to see what happens when they go inside Magic City and where the rest of the night takes them. This was easily my favorite one to watch. Send me the rest of what happens, privately. I have no idea how to score this. I mean, part of me wants to give it a friggin' 10 because it's like so interesting to me.
I love how pained you are.
If I give it a 10, I feel like I'm not really participating in what, being the judge that I should be.
Well, they should get docked for not following the prompt. Part of being on a game show is following the prompt, right? I mean, they should get docked for that. That's what I was thinking.
The prompt was specifically vague. They pushed the limits of that vagueness more than anyone else. But I want your genuine thing. Like, if it is something you want to see more, like let the score rip.
Adam, did Adam give a score yet?
Adam gave a 7.5. Don't be influenced. I want the Evan Silva score.
I'm giving it a 10. I think it's friggin' awesome.
Wow.
Screw it, man.
Wow. Let me ask you something, Silva. Because there is the element, and this is something I obviously think about a lot. I'm sure you guys think about it. Some people come to consume fantasy football content because they want fantasy football content. Like when they fire up your guys' team by team pods or whatever it is, they want the goods. They want the information. But there is the element and stuff that I've had success with over the years, and I think Ship Chasing has done well, is people start to get to know you and you show more to your side, and there's, banter and there's jokes and bits and all of that stuff. You can't over-index too much on one or the other, but like Silva, it sounds like these two would be interesting enough to you that you're like, I'll deal with some of this stuff if you eventually get to the ball knowing stuff. Or were you being serious and saying, I just want these guys to make sketches. I don't ever want to see them talk football.
I mean, if they could somehow incorporate it, I mean, that would be even better and help my score. But part of me, we do, like, the ETR video team puts out stuff that isn't going to help you win your fantasy league, but is like amazing to watch, like so good that I'll sit there and watch it 5 times.
The important thing is what Peter said to me. Like, different shows have different audiences. People don't want to tune into team by team and hear me and Silva bullshit about our weekend or whatever. Like, they're here to like try to get better and win. Whereas like, yeah, it's just, you have to know what your audience is and what the show is going for. And these guys can be pointed at that. Yeah.
Well, and I would say your guys' is in season, the Friday night slate breakdown with you two in Wiggins. I love that because I know you guys are going to get deep in the weeds, but I also know Silva is going to throw a couple back and talk about what bad line parlay he wants to take, which you could say people tuning in are like, just give me the DFS plays, who's the best value, whatever. But that levity and that element like makes it feel like this is something I want to listen to on a Friday night, not something I need to get to at 2x speed on Saturday. And that's like, it's a fine line though to walk that.
We're trying to do that all the time, of course. Like, try to be as knowledgeable as possible, also being entertaining, and like that's the whole point of this. I feel like so we didn't get to see if they were as knowledgeable as possible. Clearly, they're entertaining.
So to summarize, 7.5 from Levitan, 10 from Silva. Our internal score was much lower at 5.3. 3 completely different reads on the same submission. We all love them on camera. We just wish they didn't make the entire thing about being in person together. It works so much better as a cherry on top. And we really wish there was more fantasy talk. But guess what? The Silva back threw his weight around, and that 10 carries the day. Mitchell and Goofy, it might have been mixed, but we think you can tout. Welcome to the final 10, but it's worth saying you'll need to swap out the strip clubs for actual ball talk next challenge.
To the most famous example of stacking of all, Stonehead.
Yeah, I like these guys. I like what they did. I thought it was funny, kind of, and interesting, and like just kind of good. But I don't know. I'm like on the fence, I guess, about it. So I will give it I'll give it a 6.5.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but I didn't think they were that funny, and I didn't think that the football knowledge was like elite. So I'll go 5.5.
Our internal score was a 4.3, which makes this submission the second lowest of the day. We all know these guys can do better, and it sounds like they know it too.
Had the pleasure of working with Mr. Chad Candles for the duo challenge, and 10 out of 10 person, but for the challenge specifically, it's a 7 out of 10 partnership. And it's not his fault. He was just out of town. He was on vacation, man, and the best ability is availability, and he just wasn't all that available. And it hurts me to say because he tried his best to be available. Like, I got shades of Phillip Rivers just tearing every ligament in his knee and still showing up for the AFC Championship game. Like, he tried his best. It just was not the same, man. Like, a lot of the video editing and production stuff had to fall on my shoulders, and that's not my strong suit. So it was tough, like, and just watching all the other duos just hop on streams, make content and collabs. Like, I felt like a little kid, like, perched up on my windowsill just watching all the other neighborhood kids just like have the best time of their life outside working together, and I'm just like stuck inside because Chad was on vacation.
Let's get Chad's side of the story.
Only critique I would have would be when we first started out, he said that, we just got to not finish at the bottom. And I think to win this, everything you put out there on tape has got to be to just blow everyone else away.
Two of the nicest guys in the competition trying to collaborate across the pond. Maybe it would have been different if Chad were stateside. We'll never know. Shit happens though, and the show must go on. Their 5.4 resulted in the second lowest score across the board, ahead of only Rick and Jerry, which means our hands are tied. Chad and Trevor, we don't think you can tout. Cheerio, lads.
Welcome to Stack Shop Live. I'm Zack McDonald. That's Brian Hartman.
I kind of really liked it, but I don't know. It was pretty solid. I'll go with an 8. I think they did a really good job. I think they've got serious potential, despite the guy on the right being from Canada.
Yeah, I don't want to inflate the score because this is like kind of the format that I think like, works best or is right. But clearly, particularly the dude on the right is very good on camera. My gut was 7 flat here. Yeah, I thought it was solid but not spectacular.
Up to this point, 4 contestants have been eliminated: Rick and Jeary, Chad and Trevor. 8 have punched a ticket to the final 10, which means there are only 2 more spots for 4 remaining contestants. With an average score of 6.9, Hartman and Zack found themselves firmly on the bubble. I told Hartman to join me for a quick call to help me sort it out. Here's where things stand. Silva and Levitan weighed in, our production team weighed in. You guys are firmly on the bubble. And we also asked both of you to rate each other's collaboration in a private confessional. And let's just say neither of you were exactly glowing about the other.
I didn't love our video. I was not really stoked about it going in. I really didn't want to do like a sketch. He was very insistent that he wanted it to be very heavy on the bit.
Was it smooth? Fuck no. We probably went through 47 different ideas before we finally landed on one, but he's fun. He's great on camera. I had a great time with him.
Are you familiar with the prisoner's dilemma, Brian?
Yeah, I've heard it a time or two.
Listen carefully and then you'll have a second to decide. So choice A is you can defend Zack. You go to bat for him. You say you want to keep him in this competition. Choice B is you say, I want to cut Zack. You tell me they weren't good enough. They let the duo down, and you want to move forward without them. If you both defend each other, because Zack's going to get the same thing about you, it's going to go to a fan vote. It'll be a head-to-head vote, and the audience will decide which one of you survives. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If you cut Zack and Zack defends you, you advance automatically, and they go home. But here's the final catch, because there's a third pairing here. And if you both cut each other, you both go home. What you have just received is a prisoner's dilemma here with Zack and how you want to play this situation. Obviously, you're not able to confer with Zack. There's no conspiring here. You are going to have 60 seconds to make this choice. You can talk it out.
He's Canadian. He's a nice guy.
10 seconds.
I want to say he's going to defend me. Oh, son of a bitch. I'll defend him.
If he defends you, It will go to a fan vote. You guys will each have a chance to rally fan support. We'll obviously announce how that will work if it comes to that. However, if Zack decides to cut you, then you are done and you are going home. I then told Hartman to leave and gave Zack the exact same prisoner's dilemma. He could defend Brian or cut him. He had no idea what Brian had just said or that there were only two possible outcomes. His defense of Brian forces a 1v1 vote with the fans, or he cuts Brian and advances himself. Are you familiar with the prisoner's dilemma that I just gave you, Zack?
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that game the guy played with the banana, right? Like that.
Not emo Cowboy, video. Right? Okay.
No, different. We just had a vote for who wants to be on After Dark, and both Hartman and I were not getting a lot of votes. And I think in general, Hartman and I might be the guy who struggled the most for votes throughout this competition as far as like fan voting goes. I know it's a little bit different in the live stream, but I think that he's worried about that. And I think that he is going to cut me because he doesn't believe, even when it gets to a fan vote, that he is going to make it through. I don't care. Anyways, I don't even really care either way. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm ready to cut Brian.
You're ready to cut Brian.
Yeah. I'm okay with that either way. Like I said, I think we both went into our thing and we did not really vibe well, and it was a little bit uncomfortable. So I'm gonna go with cut.
I brought Hartman back in to reveal what happened. I will tell you this right now. You guys both had different decisions.
Fuck!
Ooh. Brian, do you want to tell Zack what your decision was?
I chose to defend.
That is extremely honorable, Brian. I have to say, that is very honorable of you.
What did you do, Zack?
Unfortunately, Brian, I chose to cut you. Sorry, brother.
So what that means is Zack advances automatically, and Brian, you are officially eliminated via so-so submission in the prisoner's dilemma.
I leaned on the bias. I thought Canadian. I was like, all right, he'll look out for both of us. We'll try and clean it up. But fuck.
I went for the chaos. I was just like, there's no way. I wasn't gonna leave this situation. Sorry to say, Brian, sorry to double down on you. I wasn't going to leave this situation sitting in your spot. There's no chance in hell I was going to come to this 3 screen and have the 3 of us sitting here and have me going home and the other guy staying. There was no chance I was going to come to that spot.
You guys legitimately had one of the most interesting confessional reveals about your guys' process working together. I would say it had like the most underlying tension to any of the confessionals.
They're all fucking lying. Are you telling me all these guys meshed well together and didn't butt heads? No, that means somebody fucking took the reins and somebody didn't. Bullshit. This is reality TV. Give it up straight. I don't buy it at all.
You guys think you'll be friends after the show?
No.
I would have done it too. It was just the risk of if we both put each other up, then we're fucked anyway. I get it. It's a ruthless game. I'm Team Tyler. Fuck BBG, not him in particular, but you made $500 and kicked somebody else out of the competition. That's smart. Knock me out now, man. I did get you something, Zack, actually.
I knew that was
Am I pissed I'm out? Yeah. Am I pissed at you? Not really. I had a good time with the video, but ultimately, fucking sucks. This is the way it goes down. You've done a better video.
The video sucked. I knew the video sucked when I saw it. I was never happy with the video.
I wish I would have heard that.
So with Hartman gone and Zack advancing, that leaves us with 1 spot remaining in the final 10 and 1 more duo to score. Remember them?
And welcome to Shipper fucking Linux.
Well, when you provided the context about Curt Rambus, that really changed the way that I viewed this, because I didn't know anything about him going in. I just thought that he was like an actor, doing a bit. I'm gonna go 8 flat because I definitely feel like I would be more likely to watch the first group than these guys. But I don't know, the context that you provided colored my opinion of these guys.
If this popped onto my YouTube, I would just snap, click off. And that's not that's just my I have a lot of problems, but I would probably have to snap click off from Curt Rambus. So I'll go 3.5.
The thing is that the stuff that Curt Rambus was saying was actually good material.
Yeah.
He did not say anything dumb. He provided like actual insight. It's just, he's such a goofball.
It is a really tough eval in that I do think with streaming, I think people like being obviously entertained, but I think they like being surprised too. Like, I don't know what you're going to do in this show. Like, are you going to go down this rabbit hole? Are you going to do this bit with the chat? Like, I do think I've felt that from, people that they like the idea that it is a show and like you're here to be entertained. And I think Rambus can do that. The question is that his just persona, is it too grating or too jarring to even allow people to come along for that ride?
For me, it would be, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's so funny. This is, from your guys' ranks, this is your most polarizing rank, an 8 and a 3.5. And that has been the Curt Rambus story all along. I guess just so it's not entirely focused on Curt, did you guys have any thoughts on Alex?
Yeah. He seems like he can do it for sure. I'd love to see more.
8 from Silva and 3.5 from Levitan. Our internal score was in the middle at 6.7, which resulted in the third lowest score of the day for this duo. In the same way Silva's vote carried Mitchell and Goofy, Levitan's annoyance with Rambus put them firmly on the bubble with the third lowest score in the challenge. We asked Rambus what he thought of the collab with Cups.
Rambus here live on the job. Got the sprayer here. Got to give our confessional on our partner Alex Cups. I loved him. He was a 10, man. There ain't nothing else to say about it. Good communication all week. Everything was great. We got a spider down here. That's kind of fun. We're about to take care. Spider, just chilling. Die. Yep, he's not doing great. He's not doing great. That's how I feel. I'm pretty pissed. I'm not happy. This is coming down to a live vote potentially. Come on, man. That video was a banger. You can't be doing that. Team Cups and Rambus. Shipperlytics was awesome. Out here though, killing bugs, don't got a lot of time, but still, I'm not happy about it. Cups, he's a 10. He's a 10 out of 10.
Cups, however, told a slightly different story.
I'm going to give him a 7.5 overall, and I'll tell you why. Rambus is a 10 when it comes to personality. I mean, we jived so well this week. He has the ball knowledge. He has a big personality. He has big takes. And, I think we got along really well this week, and our personalities worked together solid. But at the same time, he didn't have much editing skills. I had to do all the editing and take our 24-minute video, crunch it down into a 4-minute video for this challenge. But that would be my one knock on Rambus.
As expected, everything about this duo is all over the place. And we think there's only one way to settle this. 1v1 head-to-head, a vote where you guys decide who advances between these two. The electric exterminator whose energy is undeniable, but also incredibly polarizing, or the software engineer who has all of the tools to be the next great fantasy analyst. Silva and Levitan couldn't agree. Now it's time for you guys to decide. We're gonna do this vote differently as well. It's not going to be live. It's going to be done in the comments section of this video. Simply leave a comment with which one of these two you want to advance in a very quick explanation of why. For example, it should look like this. Rambus, we need more shippers and beers in our life. Or Cups, he's the strongest analyst left, keep him. The vote will be open for 24 hours. Don't even bother trying to bot or create new accounts for this. Those will automatically be thrown out. Just one honest vote from every viewer who wants to weigh in. We'll announce the winner everywhere in 24 hours from now. And for our fallen soldiers, Rick and Jeary, Chad and Trevor, and Brian Hartman, as well as anyone else trying to make it in the content game, some final words of wisdom from our guest judges.
I want people to understand that, if I was on this show, nobody knew who I was. I wouldn't even really know where to start. I think people would be like, oh yeah, he's boring. I really think that's how it would run out for me personally. So I don't want to be too harsh on people who are trying to be creative. It's just, for me personally, I want to see if you can be engaging on camera, interesting, and then also really no ball. And it's really hard. I think clearly these people all have talent. Whenever people ask me for advice, I always tell them, like, find the smallest niche possible and become an expert in it, because that's what I'm trying, to find. Like, give me the absolute expert on big sky college basketball to tout me about that, So the more general you are, I think the harder it is. But yeah, I think what everybody's goal should be is to be entertaining, like knowledgeable, like 80%, and entertaining 20%. That'd be my goal. And a lot of this we saw more of 70% entertaining and 30% knowledgeable or whatever.
Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Next week's challenge is going to be spicy.